Okay, good morning. Let's get going. Thank you all for taking some time out of your day to learn about how to improve your real estate marketing. I'm Cooper. I'm the Director of Marketing here at JP Woolman Realty. And the tagline of this webinar was Learn from the Best. I am not the best. I'll tell you right away, I'm not the best. But what I find happens with a lot of people on social media is the people we listen to on social media tend to be the people that have a lot of followers and post a lot of content. And they have really good and smart things to say. We can learn a lot from them. But the problem is their expertise oftentimes only comes from their own singular experience. So what I've done is I've gone and learned from a whole bunch of people, a bunch of the industry leading Instagram minds. So people that are specifically consultants, high performing agents, high producing agents who get a lot of their business from social media and Instagram in particular, and compiled their advice. Some of that's coming from agents I know and work with. Some of that's coming from sessions I've attended at real estate conferences in the last year. So it's a lot of information that comes together to form this masterclass. We are recording this. If you're attending, the recording will be automatically sent to you afterwards for your reference. If you're a JP Woolman agent, of course, you have access to all of our webinars and recordings for all time. Feel free to post questions or whatever you want over in the chat, and I'll answer those as we go. Here's what we're going to cover today. First, the basics. There's some pretty compelling reasons to be on Instagram right now. I think, a lot of you that are on this call that I know are doing at least pushing a little bit of content to Instagram. We'll kind of go into some of the reasons why and a little bit of the basic strategy that you may not know. Then we'll talk about specifically how to optimize your profile on Instagram. There's some pretty simple tips that you can follow to dramatically change how effective your profile is. Then we'll talk about content and also focus on video, because obviously Instagram's with Reels in the past couple of years has moved pretty heavily into the video space. And then we'll end with just a little guide on how to do hashtags better. So here's the thing. If you're not on Instagram, you really should be. Basically because, since Facebook purchased Instagram, and in the last year and a half, well, they purchased Instagram a number of years ago, but in the last year and a half, they've really integrated the two platforms from the back end, from the user and content producer standpoint, which means that it's just wildly easy to post to both platforms at the same time. And they also are those are the two platforms that have the most users, like by far, hands down. Yes, there are other social medias that are popular, but Instagram and Facebook are like far and away have the most active users on them. And what I like about Facebook and Instagram compared to a lot of other social media is that there's still the core setup. I've been reading a lot of books about media theory lately, and one of the beliefs about media theory is that the impact of a platform is not about the messages that are on that platform. It's about the structure of the platform. They say the medium is the message, and the core structure of Facebook and Instagram is still follower-ship that you have to make yourself, right? If you go to the news feeds, there's a little bit of content in there. Maybe 1 out of 10 posts will be content that Facebook is serving you. That's not an ad. But then if you go to Pinterest or TikTok, of course, or YouTube, the vast majority of the content there is algorithmically driven, right? It's not stuff from people it's stuff from randos designed to entertain you. So Instagram and Facebook are still a really good way to get in touch and stay in touch with real people i.e. real estate clients. Demographically speaking, the primary demographic on Instagram, yes, it is younger. Yes, it is, millennials, my beloved millennial generation, of which I'm a part, but stand afar from because I'm not like them. That's the 25 to 35-year-olds that are the dominant demographic in terms of age. Maybe not now that the interest rates are going up and the economy is slowing down, but that's the next vanguard of home buyers. So one of, I think, the most compelling reasons that you should have a strong Instagram marketing plan and routine right now is because you're essentially marketing to that next generation of home buyers. So you're really driving loyalty in business like a decade into the future. And then, you can see 18 to 24, like 2 decades in the future potentially. prospective home buyers once they age in to the right financial demographic. Here's a couple of cool, really quick little things just about how to set up an Instagram account. I help agents with this every week. Hardly a week goes by that I don't literally help someone set up their Instagram profile the proper way. And what we recommend is if you set up a new business account for Instagram, you have a huge problem, and that is that you start with 0 followers. What I find, well, a lot of people, what works a lot better is that they have an existing Instagram account that probably has a number of followers, and it's their personal account. But you'll see from our recommendations later, we don't recommend you use any of your social media for a marketing or sales type content. Most of your content is going to be more personal and more entertaining than that. So we actually recommend that you use your personal profile on Instagram, your personal account, for your business, but do not leave it as a personal type account. You have to convert it into a professional account, which unlocks all kinds more features, including the ability to put a link in your bio and edit your bio and all kinds of stuff like that. That's what allows you to link it with Facebook Business Manager, so you can post to both accounts from the same place at one time and schedule posts. It unlocks the full suite of power and analytics from Facebook. So this is just the 4 simple steps there. You can screenshot that or write it down quick of how you convert your personal Instagram to a professional account. You click on the menu, on the upper right-hand corner in your app. Can't do this stuff on the desktop, by the way, because Instagram's still mobile first. They don't really have a desktop. They don't have a desktop functionality other than just to view content. But a lot of that's changing because they're integrating it with Facebook's desktop-based management experience. So go to your menu, go to the settings, and then go to account, and then scroll to the bottom. There's an option that's like in that 4th deep menu at the very bottom, convert to a professional account or upgrade. It's free. You basically just put in an address and put in a little more information. And the only thing that changes is you unlock all kinds of power and control over your account. Then what you got to do is, like I talked about, the efficiencies of connecting Instagram with Facebook. So to do that, once again, you can revisit this recording or screenshot this right now to connect your Instagram and Facebook. Once again, every single agent in our brokerage that posts on Instagram for their business, I had to help them go through this because it's not super intuitive. So you can go to this link that happens to just take you to basically the right place, business.facebook.com/latest. Or like when you go to post on your desktop Facebook experience, when you go to post, there's that little link that'll show up there that says, like, if you want to schedule it, go to the business suite. So you're going to the business suite. And when you go to post in the business suite, so if you click create post, there's a button at the top. It'll give you this little window like you see here, the post window. And then, so I obviously have ours integrated, but right here where you see our JP Woman Realty TC Instagram account, where you can just select it, what yours will say is connect to Instagram account. You want to have it already upgraded to professional before you connect it, of course, but that's where you connect it. There's a little button, you click connect, and then you got to log in and remember your password, and then it links them together. We recommend you post basically all the same content to both places, so it's easy and super efficient and just part of your routine. I do over Instagram and Facebook, and we have like a bunch of agents that have hired us to do it for them. I just do it every Monday, routinize it, schedule it out. And then you can see here also, like when you go to post stuff, you can pick optimal times. It'll even suggest for you when you're posting content through the business suite, which is that link there that I just shared. It'll suggest to you what the optimal time to post for your Instagram followers and your Facebook friends or page followers in this case. So it tells you how to improve based on what the algorithm wants to see. And then a little downwards arrow that I have in the red box around the lower right there. That's where it shows you that's how you can schedule posts out into the future, which is the key to basically doing your social media like in one fell swoop, 1 day a week. Oh, my red box got off on this one somehow. That's funny. Okay, here's some tips from Angie Troxel, who is basically the most prolific Instagram and social media agent in our office. 95% of her followers, she's got like 1,500 Instagram followers. I think she has more on her personal account. She actually runs like multiple content strategies all over the place. 95% of her followers, she says, are from just people she's met, and then she goes and connects with them on social media, and then they follow her back. So that's the best way to do it. But obviously you can link to your Instagram account from your website and your newsletters and all those kind of things, QR codes on mailers if you want. We'll talk a little bit in a second about how to create content so that when people land on your profile, they actually want to follow you. It's pretty hard to do that, frankly. So you're probably not going to get many followers just from linking your newsletter to your Instagram account. You could do some giveaway incentives to get Instagram followers. That's probably the best way to do it, through linking. Obviously you have to have good content. A lot of agents, there's like a chicken and egg thing where it's like, oh, why would I post on my Instagram if I don't have any followers or not many followers? And then it's like, well, who's going to follow you if you don't have any content there already? So you actually have to start posting frequently and good content before you can really expect to get any followers, which seems counterintuitive, right? Like you're posting for almost no one to see it. Use a hashtag strategy. We'll get into that later. I personally don't really believe in hashtags, but that's my hot take that we'll save for the nugget at the end of the webinar. And then this is the key thing. Basically, every time you meet someone in the real world, like as you're walking away, pull out your phone, follow them on every social media you can think of, Facebook, Instagram being the most important ones. They will follow you back. Ideally, then you can stay in touch with them. You can start engaging with their content to start warming up that relationship. And then, man, if you're a JP Woman agent, you have KV Core, you have the KV Core app, so you're going to walk away from a conversation, follow on Instagram, follow on Facebook, and then pull out the KV Core app for your CRM, enter them into the CRM. You probably don't have an email yet. So you just make one up if you don't have it yet. And you can go find an email later on LinkedIn. Everybody has an email on LinkedIn. And then set a follow-up reminder through KV Core for a week, 2 weeks, a month out to just check in with that person again, touch base with them. Here's, before we move on, just a couple of the people that I think you can learn a lot very quickly from following on Instagram. A lot of these people are people who are kind of industry leaders and are teaching at conferences. Shannon Milligan is kind of like a little bit more like small-timey person on Instagram. She is, you can see she has like 3,400 followers, which is a lot. But she's just an independent producer. She's an agent that just has really loves Instagram and gets quite a bit of business through there. You've got Marky Lemons, Kay Lance, and Chelsea Pites, who are all specifically, they do social media consulting for realtors. So, a lot of their content you're going to learn from following them because they're going to tell you advice. But their content isn't really real estate content. It's like marketing content for their own consulting businesses. So it's a little bit of a different situation. Like you can emulate Shannon Milligan. You can emulate Angela Troxel by looking at their content. You can learn directly from these other people. Giselle is an online image coach who has lots of really interesting stuff. So a little bit less about real estate and marketing strategy, and a little bit more about just how to present yourself, which I think as real estate agents is a big challenge, right? How do you present yourself online? Speaking of how you present yourself online, I'm going to give you some quick tips. These are super actionable, a lot of these things you can go and do right now to optimize your profile. We'll start the very most basic. So once you update your Instagram account to a professional account, you unlock quite a few more things. And a lot of these things you can't really even do if you just are using your normal personal type of Instagram account. So your account name, which in this case is Chelsea.Pites, is different from your profile name. You have to use your profile name as an opportunity to communicate, right? A lot of people, you go and you'll see that they're the same. They just have it repeated because they don't understand it. Here's an example. Chelsea Pites has 38,000 Instagram followers, so kind of a different league compared to some of these other people we're looking at. So in your profile name, though, obviously you still want your name so people know you because you're primarily going to be marketing to your sphere. And then some key information, maybe a location. The word realtor is really good for how you show up on search engines and whatnot. And maybe one other little snippet about what makes you who you are. So she is Chelsea vertical bar. Vertical bars are really good for, you just have those on your keyboard up by backspace, but good for separating out taglines. Real estate, Instagram tips. That's her whole business. So that's what she has. The main text, you get basically 4, maybe 5 lines. I think it's 5 lines. Yeah, I think. But I think of it as 4 'cause the last one's always a link. So in your main text, you can, if you go and look at Instagram profile, that's interesting because everybody's always separating them out using emojis, and that's actually really important because I've seen Instagram profiles that don't have emojis in there, and your eyes don't read anything because it's just a block of text. So the emojis really help your brain to see it in parts rather than just as a whole. So you can see what she has here. She basically talks about who she is there. A little bit of her personality, but a little bit of also like the value she provides. She has a call to action, DM for free IG audit, book podcast freebies in the link, right? That's another call to action. Like go through this link to get something of value. For real estate agents, it's pretty common to do like home value report. It's overused. Try to get creative and do something else. Like click here to see some really cool houses, and then have it linked to like a super expensive mansion search on your website or something where you'll be able to maybe lead capture them. The other thing that's really helpful to put in here as a real estate agent is some kind of stat proof of your business. So like, 200 lifetime sales, 4.9 out of 5-star rating on Google, average sale price is 105% of list, or whatever it is. Like put some kind of data in there too to show your credibility and expertise. I already mentioned it, but when you go to a professional account on Instagram, one of the things you get is a link, and this is key because you can't put links in posts on Instagram, unlike Facebook, even though Facebook like deprioritizes and like doesn't show linked content very often. But you can put a link. This is the only way to really get traffic from Instagram to go somewhere else effectively, other than you can do it in stories sometimes, I think. But yeah, put a link. Ideally, it's to your website there, right? You'll notice some of these consulting people, they don't have a link to a website. They have a link to something called Linktree, which is a free or paid service. But basically, when you click on that, you go to this other page that you can see here, where you have like sections of buttons and super mobile friendly. I personally don't like Linktree. I mean, it's kind of cool because they click one place, they don't go to a website where they could get lost or there's slow loading time or whatever. Goes to a place where they can like really see a whole bunch of options easily. Like I wouldn't ever do more than 7 like Katie has here. But they get to self-sort pretty effectively, and then you can have each of those buttons lead to a super optimized call to action, whatever that is. I wouldn't do a home value report link on my Instagram. I would maybe link to one of these things and have home value report be an option in there, that we're not pigeonholing yourself in your call to action. The thing I don't like about Linktree is most of the time, so like, I don't know, Katie Lance has a call to action, click for all my links. Chelsea Pites had a specific call to action, which was book podcast freebies. To me, that's a little bit more enticing. I actually clicked on that when I read that first because I was like, okay, what are these freebies? And there's like an ebook that I could download or something. But for me, click for all my links, that's kind of frustrating. When I'm on Instagram, especially when I'm clicking through to someone's actual profile, right? Not just scrolling the feed. Like the state of mind I'm in is I don't want to click somewhere to see more links, or I have to click somewhere else to go somewhere else. Most time on Instagram, like what I want is entertainment, or I want to get something quick, like that's why freebies, I think, is a little bit of that's kind of a good hook, or like view some dope houses in Minnesota and then link to the cool, like 2.5 million plus search for Minnesota or home value report. I think those things are a little bit more enticing because when I land on a Linktree page like this, to me, I'm just like, well, I don't really want to do any of this stuff. It's a lot of text. I'd rather go back to Instagram, which I was already doing, and keep scrolling. I think that it breaks the mindset of the expectation of what we should have for people on Instagram a little bit to use Linktree. So I don't feel like you have to use Linktree, but you can experiment with it. Story highlights. A lot of people ask, like, how do you get these little bubbles? These little, Katie Lance has got these nice red ones. Chelsea Pites has like this kind of really happy, like child theme going on. Here's how to get them. It's pretty easy. I'm using a screenshot from this blog I started a while ago, and I have an Instagram account that we never post on. It's like me and my mom and my wife follow it. Hit that plus button upper right-hand corner, and then story highlights. That's what those little circles are called. They're called story highlights. you can choose what the little image is there. And if you go on Canva, you can just you can look up story highlights. And it's basically just a circle, but it's easy to design. There's lots of templates out there to create good looking, well branded story highlight cover images, right? And these are, you can think of them a little bit more like, the menu on your website. Like when somebody comes to your website, you have the main menu at the top. If they land in your homepage, they have easy access to those important things that they come to your website to do. So having these story highlights right there on your profile gives any of your followers, when they click to your profile, easy access to the top things you want them to do. And it's kind of interesting to see some of Chelsea's things here, because she has podcasts, education, IG updates, education, but 2 of her first 4 things are mom jokes and family, which is interesting because her social media profile, this Instagram account, 100% exists to make her money. She's a consultant. That's how she makes all her money. 2 of her first 4 story highlights have nothing to do with business, marketing, or making money. They're just entertaining, personal, fun, entertaining stuff. And I think that's really key. That's super wise. And you got to notice those trends when you're analyzing this stuff. So what you might use, I would probably go back. We're gonna go back lines here. I would look at like Shannon. Obviously has some good examples here. To me, this is like really it's pretty unentertaining, uninviting also. But you've got buyer education, repair, debt busting, RVA, food. Don't know what that means. Seller ed, mortgage, homes for sale. Like those are cool. They look good. They look professional. Would I ever click on any of those as like the average person at any average time in my life? If I know Shannon, no, I'm not going to, unless I'm like right in, the state of mind where I'm starting to think about real estate, or I'm an active client maybe, which isn't a great use. So I really like having it, like half of them dedicated solely to just entertaining, fun stuff. Okay, let's move on and talk about content. So here's the stats on when to convert a subscriber. Remember, we already talked about the chicken and egg, like, why would I post if I don't have any followers? Well, maybe you don't have any followers because you never posted, right? So when someone visits your profile, which is the main place that they're going to follow you, you have 3 seconds of their attention to hook them, to make them want to follow you. So if you say, "Hey, Jerry, it was good to see you the other day. Would you follow me on Instagram? Do you want to follow me on Instagram?" Or I just followed you and then he's considering following you back. Like, they go to your page, there's nothing there. They're never going to follow you. Or maybe if they really like you, but then if they really like you, you're probably getting their business anyway. So you got 3 seconds and 9 posts. So the top 9 posts in the grid is that's how long you have. So you have to make an impression there. And if all you're posting is market data and real estate education, they're going to see 9 posts of market data and real estate education and say, well, I don't give a rip about real estate for most of my life. So why would I follow you? Because I don't want to see real estate education and market data every day on Instagram. That's not why I go to Instagram. So you got to have fun, entertaining stuff there. You want to communicate your brand. You can see Chelsea has like a mix of very personal stuff. The thing that I always notice, and it drives me crazy, is like, oh, you're in your pajamas, fully made up, hair done. So it's a little inauthentic. At least she's showing like some aspects of real life, although it's not really real life. I'd encourage you to just go like straight authentic. Don't worry about any of that stuff, because people want to see the real you. But you can see how she's got a mix of like promoting some events, a little funny thing with her dog, a little announcement, and then a lot of like very personal, just kind of behind the scenes, quick video stuff, like her dog's looking at her. But that's her brand, right? She's communicating her brand, which is funny stuff, dog brand, cute dogs, house stuff, and then Instagram advice. Clickbait. They literally tell you, do clickbait. In your post, have clickbait. Right away, the first thing, this little snapshot of a post, and that's also the first frame or the cover of your reels, should be something that like is weird or strange or enticing, to draw those people in. Because your ideal thing is in those 3 seconds with 9 posts, when somebody who's a potential subscriber and follower comes to your profile, ideally you don't want them to just look at your content and follow you. You want them to see those 9 posts and like want to click into multiple of them, because then you're for sure going to get them as a follower. Here's an example. This is a reflection. This is from a while ago. I think you can see it's, yeah, so this is like 2021, and a snapshot of the JP Woman Instagram. And JP Woman Instagram doesn't do very much. It mostly functions just to provide our agents with access to good content because they take from there. So after I went to some of these sessions at Inman last year, I like went and looked at our Instagram. And I was like, our top performing posts on Facebook are cool house posts because I spend a lot of time and energy finding, well, not a lot of time and energy, let's be honest, it's like 5 minutes once a week. We find these really cool, interesting houses for sale in Minnesota and beyond, and then highlight them in our Facebook social media. Hands down, top performing posts overall, other than like some videos and listings and some stuff like that. They get you a lot of shares, but tons of engagement on these posts. They don't perform well on Instagram. And then I went and I looked, and because I'm posting the same content to Facebook and Instagram, I'm optimizing for Facebook, which when you post on Facebook, if you do 4 or more photos, it gives you the big one on the top and then the little tiles. So when I post a cool house, I start with an exterior image, which a lot of times, here's 2 great examples. They just look like crummy houses, but each of these houses has something goofy about them on the inside. So on Facebook, you see the main thing, you're like crummy house, and then you see that little tile below that's got something super weird in it, and it draws you in. It makes you click on it to expand it so you can figure out what that is. It piques your curiosity. On Instagram, you just see one image of a crappy house, and then you have a little icon that says there's more images, and you don't see the text, right? So nobody's ever going to look at these things. Same with the fire thing. That was like some engagement post, call to action, like asking a question about how you make your house cozy in the winter or something like that. But on Instagram, it just looks like a black photo with a fire there. So anyways, pretty ineffective way to actually drive engagement on Instagram. So what we started to do is I basically make sure that cover image itself contains what the subsequent images do on their own on Facebook, right? On Facebook, you have this as your cover image, big mansion. And then photo number 2, 3, and 4 are like really goofy, interesting things. In this case, that's like literally tell your kid who loves Disney, tell me in your wildest dreams what your bedroom's like. And like they've done it in this house. Like the boys' bedroom, you walk through like a jungle to get into this Star Wars room where there's multiple like almost life-size Star Wars ships in there, and there's like a bed in the ships and a slide. And then the girls' room is like the entire Cinderella castle that's like up to 9-foot ceilings, and you walk into it, and then you're like behind, you can like climb up in the loft, and there's a bathtub in Cinderella's carriage in the bathroom, which is insane stuff, which draws people in on Facebook. But on Instagram, you wouldn't know. You used to be like, oh, that looks like a big house. So what you do is you do this little overlay with the text using Canva that draws people and it makes them want to, but you're like, oh, how is that a secret Disney mansion? Let's swipe that puppy, see what's in there. And then they get drawn in. There's like 8 photos and they spend a bunch of time doing this. Yeah, thanks. No problem. Appreciate it. You'll get the recording. Content mix. Here's what the experts recommend. Do at least 1 reel per week. We'll talk about how you should think about reels and stories in a second. So 1 reel per week. 3 grid posts, so that's just an image or multiple images with some text per week. Man, if you can do it, a story every day. I know Angie Truxell does a story like every 2 to 3 hours. If you go and watch the interview, it's like a podcast / YouTube that I did with her earlier this year. I kind of teased her about does she wake up in the middle of the night to do Instagram stories? And maybe sometimes, but she does like every 2 hours when she's awake. But try to do a story a day because they put those story bubbles at the top because they get the most engagement. If you can do a video live, do it live. If you can do a reel live, do it live whenever possible. Don't worry about how you look. Don't worry about the setting. Don't worry about the lighting that much. Just do it. Most of the people who follow you know you, and they know the real you, and they want to see that anyways. And then you have to have your own social media engagement routine. This is what I find a lot of agents lack is, it's already hard to just get a routine for creating and posting content. If you're a JPO, it's easy because we send you like 4 posts a week to your email and you just click it auto downloads because of how it's set up. And then you just post it, or you just hire us to do your social media for you. But then what a lot of agents don't do after they have a content strategy is they don't themselves engage in social media. So the recommendation is 3 likes and a comment a day. I do the same thing on Facebook. too. Any social media you're focusing on, you also have to be active in feeding the algorithm. And it's no one knows what is in the algorithm. It's secret, highly secret. But one of the things that a lot of people believe and that I've noticed is that the more active you yourself are at feeding the algorithm, which means liking and commenting and sharing, sometimes there's a correlation between that and your post performing better, right? Your posts are over here. So the content that you share actually is a little bit affected sometimes by how much interaction you actually provide to other people on social media, which makes sense because you're training the algorithm to know that you have these connections, these relationships. Feeding the pig. Uh-oh, well, that was a crazy glitch. Okay, content types. Here's a whole bunch of them. Ones on the left side are kind of bland, but community. So like highlighting something like the Rockford River Days, something that's going on in the community, whatever that might be. These things are easy to find because community websites that post all the stuff, Facebook groups that already are posting stuff, you just share it over. Business stuff, new listings, just sold, closing table kind of stuff. Partnerships. I don't think agents do enough partnerships with like local businesses. A lot of times you can get a lot of free stuff. Who was it? Somebody was telling me the other day that they have never paid for their real estate giveaway because every month they just find a different local business that will give it to them for free, and then they give it away for free marketing. Genius. And then you tag the local business, and then they share it to their followership. Yeah, super good idea. Try it. My favorite content type, which is just stuff that's beautiful or causes people to dream. So that's like cool house posts, mansions. You've got education where you're teaching people about real estate. You've got just funny jokes, don't even have to relate to real estate. And then personal stuff like a picture of you and your family in your Halloween costumes. What type of content is the most important? If you're a JP1 agent, you hear me harp on this all the time because I truly believe on it because it's what the data says. Entertaining content. And here's the type of content that's entertaining. Beautiful stuff that causes you to dream, i.e. cool houses. Funny stuff, jokes, and personal stuff. People find that entertaining. Here's why. 2021 NAR survey says that the average person buys a house over 8 years. How long do they spend planning to buy a house? 9 months, maybe a year. So that means out of every 8 years, at best, you got 7 years of don't give a rip about real estate. So if most of your content is real estate education, market data, your own business posts are good because it shows them that you're an expert. I think it's good to do some education and market data because it shows your expertise. But 7 out of 8 years, people don't care about real estate and they don't want it in their newsfeed. What they do want is entertainment. People go to social media to be entertained. That's the most common use case and mindset people on social media. Micro moments, how we use social media. You pick your phone up, you scroll for maybe a minute, and you're looking for entertainment. You're not looking to learn most of the time. You're not even looking to engage, to communicate with anybody. You might engage via a like. That's why those engagements are so easy to do. But you're looking for entertainment. So be entertained. One second, my computer's being annoying and it's not taking me to the proper slides. No, that's not the slide I'm on. I'm on the structuring a post slide. Give me 1 second. I gotta reboot this presentation. Canva must be having an issue. I've never had this happen before. 1 second. Interesting. I have like nothing else running on my computer. So I believe Canva is having some kind of an interruption. Let's see. Sorry guys, give me 1 minute to figure this out. We're gonna do this the old-fashioned way. Okay, worst case scenario is I just verbally tell you this. Yeah, happened during a listing appointment. Great. Yeah, typical. You guys can still, it's my internet signal is strong and consistent, so it's not that fascinating. It's literally, so use Canva for all this stuff. Yeah, so good question. We will automatically send out to you the recording of this. It's automation and click meeting. Okay, I'm gonna try one more time the same way, and if that doesn't work, I'm just gonna download it and we'll just look at it as a PDF. Okay. Oh no, that's not it. Presenter view. Present. Okay, it looks like it was just a little goofy glitch with Canva, which is what we use for all of our design. And Canva kind of does it all, actually. We've been teaching agents lately to use Canva to create videos, and it actually works super well. Okay, fascinating. Exact same issue, like once I get to the same point in the presentation. So what we're gonna do, download the PDF, which will take a little bit of time, and then we'll just continue on. Yeah, Canva is amazing. I was reading some news stories about it because I'm a nerd and I do that kind of stuff. Canva's like a multi-billion-dollar company. You wouldn't think it, but it's a huge company and they have a lot of users. Okay, so that looks good. We got it here as just like a, I think what I can do then also is I think I can, okay, this is not ideal, but it's pretty good. Let's see if I can like just hide some of this stuff so that you don't have to look at my bookmarks bar wall, like my massive bookmarks that I use religiously for everything. Okay, we're back in action. When in doubt, export it as a PDF and just scroll through it. Okay, could be worse. So here's where we're at. Thank you for your patience. Yeah, Canva is awesome. JP Woman agents, we have like a Canva Premium that everybody's on, so they have access to like our templates and stuff in there, which I love. If you're into JP Woman agent and you haven't looked through our Canva templates, there's like a million of them in there. And they're linked from the hub too. Okay, so here's how to structure a post. We're back. Number one thing, like I said, it's all about that attention grabber. They like the experts all say like basically like don't worry about clickbait, just do it. And that's the best way to break through the fog in social media. If you're gonna write a bunch of texts in your posts, which I'm not a huge fan of that because I don't think that many people like read a lot on Instagram. Maybe they do if it's really interesting. So break your text into paragraphs. That's really good advice if you are going to write a bunch of text. See how Katie Lance here is using those, just a little return and then a period, then a return. Hide your hashtags way down at the bottom. Put a bunch of returns in there and then put them at the bottom so nobody sees them because nobody wants to see those. And then make sure you have call to actions too. You know, like DM me, comment here, or whatever to get something. Some simple advice. Let's talk a little bit about video. Video is like pretty interesting if you think about the use case on Instagram in particular. So it's like the majority of people that watch video on Instagram watch it with they don't have their sound on. So you have to consider that, and that's why a lot of people like do subtitles or like the little image overlays. Like where you put the little words on there basically while you're talking. But one of the things I recommend actually is like instead of dancing or like pointing to words on the screen, like because people are watching with the sound off, don't do that. Like sure, have words on the screen and point to them, but like talk in depth about them, like almost like you're giving a presentation, right? This presentation is a little bit word heavy because I actually want people to be able to just like re-reference the video silently in the future and know what I'm talking about, but use like a presentation where it's like bullet points and then you're actually talking about them. So you do want people to turn the sound on, but a lot of them won't. So yeah, give your expertise in videos. I think a lot of people like don't do that. If you're going to do a video, you should have something to say in it and then actually say it. Reels and stories. Reels last forever. Stories, they're perishable, right? 24 hours before they just disappear. That's the nature of the beast. So when you're doing reels, because they last forever, you want to have a more broad topic set, evergreen content, evergreen, just like a tree. It's always green, which means it doesn't. So like an example of non-evergreen content would be, the rates just increased. Nobody cares about that like a month in the future. Or the 2022 summer home decor trends. That's not evergreen, right? It's time sensitive, it's perishable. So create content that will last forever and be useful forever because you're putting more effort into it, right? To create a little bit of a longer video, longer content. Education is good for reels. And then stories are, just like capturing a little moment in time. Maybe it's your dog did something funny. Maybe you're just at a cool showing, you see something neat. Maybe you just have a thought to share, or you had an interesting interaction, or you thank someone. Sharing a moment. And remember, the recommendations is 1 reel a week, a story a day, 3 posts per week. Here's some more tips on stories. If you go and follow those people I told you to follow earlier, they're doing a lot of stories. Angie Trox, like I said, does like one every 2 to 3 hours. So if you just watch their stuff, you'll get a lot of ideas for stories. Just replicate it. You know what they say, good artists create, great artists steal. Just replicate other people's content. There's so many people out there producing content. They're all essentially deriving it somehow from somewhere anyway. So you can just derive your content from theirs. But in stories, do polls and quizzes. I think it's easy to overlook that kind of like engagement. Like you can just put buttons in there that force people to choose this or that. Those are really great ways to get engagement. Obviously, put text overlays in there for those people that are watching without their sound on. I think in stories is a good time, especially because it's perishable. Go behind the scenes in the house. So like something I would do right now is like, my house is weird because we have a Great Dane who had a surgery, and we converted our dining room. The reason I'm standing here with this goofy, there's like a piano behind me and stuff and shades, because I have an eye line into our dining room where our dog is. We converted our entire dining room into like the recovery room for our dog. She had a surgery, and I'm here so I can watch her like by doing this. So if you see me kind of dip and weave, it's because I'm looking at my dog. That would be a great source of content, right? Like I'm showing people the reality of my house, the fact that our couch here has no cushions on it because we love our dog so much. We put the couch cushions on the floor in the dining room with blankets over them so she has a comfortable place to lay. Like, I don't know, that's good content. Everybody can relate to those kind of things when you show behind the scenes. Do question and answer. You can ask a question and answer, or you can ask for questions. There's like little overlays you put in stories where people can click and like write a question to you. You can do challenges, whatever that challenge might be. Maybe it's a goofy one like the cinnamon challenge, and then you do it yourself and then like challenge other people to reply or do their own stories where they take the challenge. Don't do anything dangerous, obviously. I don't think the cinnamon challenge is dangerous, but it could be. And then listing teasers are really good too, or showing fun. So like one cool thing about the house, like check out this nice kitchen, or like, wow, I really like the way they did this bathroom. Those kind of things are great for stories. All right, last but not least, everybody always asks about hashtags. And I already kind of hinted that I've got hot takes on hashtags that I'm going to share with you right now. I'm going to share with you the expert strategy on the way to do effective hashtags. I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't care about hashtags, okay? That's the bait and switch. Hashtags should be relevant, unique to each post. I can't tell you how many people, they just do the same hashtags on every post, maybe change a couple of them. So I mean, like, hashtags work because they show your content to people that follow those hashtags. But if the hashtags, people that follow the hashtags, the content that you're hashtagging isn't really relevant or good, nobody's going to see it. And then the hashtags are basically they're just fodder. They're just clutter in your content. Some people say 5 to 11 is an optimal number. I think that is probably quite a bit more reasonable, especially for the type of content that most agents are putting out, where, Chelsea Pites has 38,000 followers. So if she's going to do some hashtags, she can do a lot more than that. And I'll tell you specifically how she does her hashtags in a second. Although she didn't do them the way she said to on this post. Interesting. A lot of times people don't follow their own advice. There's a sweet spot. This happens in a lot of marketing. So hashtags are a type of a way to get organic reach. Whenever you think about organic reach, that's like, I'm not paying, it's not going to my database. It's going out to the general public and trying to be seen by as many people that are based on its own merit and the algorithm. And there's a strategy whenever you're doing any type of organic marketing where you have to hit a sweet spot where in this case, the hashtag has enough people following it that there's people to see your content, but not so many people following it and not so much content posted to the hashtag that you get drowned out or you have no chance. So, like hashtag realtor, there's no reason to include that in your posts, right? There's a million people that follow that. There's a million posts per day on that hashtag. Doesn't matter. Now, Maple Grove soccer moms could be amazing if there are people that follow Maple Grove soccer moms. Could be amazing, but it could be too specific. Maple Grove realtor might be too specific. If you go on there and nobody ever posts, probably not worth it. So you got to hit a sweet spot between realtor and Maple Grove soccer moms. Okay, somewhere in the middle there. So yeah, being specific but not too specific. Some people, there's a trend for a while that you should put your hashtags in the comments. Instagram specifically said, this is a post that Chelsea Pites actually did about it. Put your hashtags in the caption, not the comments. Instagram themselves said, don't put it in the comments. Also looks terrible. Here is Chelsea's specific guide to hashtags, the 10-10-10 rule. We just saw a post about hashtags from her where she didn't follow this, but it's interesting. Steal this strategy if you really want to get into hashtags. 10 hashtags that are niche, so the really specific ones. 10 hashtags that are medium, so that's like more like regional stuff. Like maybe you could do Minnesota real estate. I don't know, maybe. And then you can go 10 that are a little bit more broader. This is like a way that you're kind of more of a shotgun approach, right? What I just described to you before was more of like a honed sniper approach where, you're trying to really figure out what your niche is. But this is like, if you don't know, then you can do 10-10-10 from across the board. Okay, so here's my hot take on hashtags, and we'll do this. We'll go back to this one to look at. So I've known a few real estate agents that have gotten some really like kind of micro viral posts through the use of hashtags. Angie Troxel gets quite a few. Brian McWhite had one the other day where he used one of our posts and he added, this is a great example. He put the hashtag Frank Lloyd Wright on there because there's a Frank Lloyd Wright house. That thing that I always get them confused because there's a composer with a similar name that does musical theater that my mom really likes. Anyways, Frank Lloyd Wright. Pretty sure that's the guy, right? That's the modern Arctic Prairie style guy that's got a lot of stuff in the Midwest. Pretty sure. Anyway, so you just hashtag Frank Lloyd Wright. 1,000 people see his post from that hashtag. You can see it in the analytics. And I'm like, that's great. Cool. Good for you. What percent of those people are going to be your real estate clients ever, or even could be? The answer is like 0, right? So most of your hashtags are like, if you could get traffic from them, which is fun and helpful, but you're not going to convert it into real estate business. Same thing with like TikTok, like because it's algorithmically driven, your content that you're sharing there, its purpose is for the algorithm to eat it up and spit it out to people all over the world that want to see it, not to take it and show it to people close to you that you're actually connected with and know your sphere or your community. So that's the big mismatch, right? Like most of the time, hashtags are not going to ever help you get more business. Now you might get a hashtag that gets you some extra reach from your post, which then causes that post to be shown even more to more people in your community. There's a little bit of a feedback loop there, or your followership. So the average post only gets seen by like 30 to 40% of your page followers at best. So maybe you get a hashtag, get extra engagement on the post, and then Facebook or Instagram starts to show that post like 50, 60% of your page followers rather than 20, 30, 40%. So a little bit of a help there, but I mean, you're not going to get business from these. You're not going to get reach that is going to help. But that's where it's like the only use case I could see that would really matter. It would be like, if you can find this tiny little niche, Maple Grove soccer moms, that's my bad example, but I don't know, maybe there's 100 women on that follow that hashtag for whatever reason. And that's your niche because you are a Maple Grove soccer mom. Then it's like jackpot, a great, perfect way to be in touch with people in your exact target market that, might not already be your followers. So if you can find something like that is a useful way to have some hashtags in your post, but I wouldn't worry about it, honestly. I said steal the strat, and this 10-10-10 rule is a good strategy. If I look at this is from the bottom one's from Shannon. No, Windermere Abode is a different company that I follow, but I mean, like, they have hashtag realtor and hashtag real estate in there. This is like a local brokerage in Seattle or somewhere like that, North Tacoma. like hashtag 253. Anyway, so it's just like, think about that. So those are ridiculous hashtags to have. They're not helpful, but steal the strat. Find another agent in your market that's good at social media and start using some of their hashtags. They probably know. They probably have done some of the research to find what works. So steal their strategies. Okay, thank you for listening to my pretty opinionated, insight on hashtags. But I hope that you guys got some good actionable information out of this on how you can maybe just get onto Instagram for the first time or use it a lot more effectively. Overall, like I said, we like Instagram and Facebook because they're still at their core and structurally a way for you to stay in touch and maintain relationships with people that you're close to or in your community, right? Not as big of a fan about a lot of other social medias. LinkedIn's like that too, right? But a lot of our social media is like, that's not their core function. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I'll be on here for a couple more minutes if you want to ask some questions in the chat. And if not, have a great day.